Well, good morning and welcome to the final day of the Tag Your It Challenge for August. Yes, today is August 30th. And even if you're watching this later, that's what I want you to know. This is August 30th. And today is the last, today's the 31st. Today's August 31st. It is the last day, because it's the last day of August, of the Tag Your It Challenge for August. But the good news is I'm going to continue the challenge, sort of, going into September. So I'm going to have a whole new prompt list, and I'm going to post that later on today so that you can see the prompts for September and share and tell all your buddies that you're participating in the Tag Your It Challenge for September. So I just wanted to do a quick run through of the tags I've created. I have not kept up with the prompts, but that's okay. I'm giving myself that leeway. There have been some really amazing posts on the Tag Your It, PCL Tag Your It tag, which is right here. So you can go and check that out, PCL Tag Your It. You can go look at that on here on Instagram and see all the amazing things that people have shared. We also have a lot of really great posts going on over in my Facebook group. So go check that out. Here's just a quick little flip through of the tags that I've created and what I've been inspired to create because of this challenge. So first off, in no particular order, because I really don't know what the prompts were that inspired these, and some of them aren't. I just created this little flip book out of some different tags that I have. I actually have a kit in the shop that's a storyteller from Vicky Boutine, and it has some really fun tag shapes. And then here's some of my little tags. And I even added this little scissors charm that I found. So this tag book has inspired me to do a few other things. Here's a little tag I created. Here's one for birthday. I do remember some of these. I created the background on, I think, the day for pattern. And I went back and added in the birthday wishes for birthday. So here's some more. That one just has a stamp on it. This is a ticket. That's also going to be a fun theme at some point. Here's a little pocket and a nice little tag thing from Ricky Tikki Tavi from one of her little bricolage bags. Here's a tag that's been stamped on the back. Here's one for pattern. Pattern was like the first day, I think. That one's for words. That was a fun one. That was a stencil. This one is just some paper. I think it'll be fun to go back and add some more things into this book as I go along. This one was for purple. That one's winter. That's from the Busy Sidewalks collection. Here's a way that I created a tag out of a piece of non-tag ephemera. I actually have a die set that has a little hole punch like this, and you just cut it out and put it on. You're supposed to put it around the tag hole. But I just, because see, it looks like this one, right? But I just stapled it on there and put it like that. This is a little shaker. This was already part of that Vicky Boutine storyteller kit. So it's fun. I don't even really know how to do shakers, but this one was already done. Here's another one for pattern. Here's one that I just have painted. I have so many of these painted tags. I still have a whole bunch. Actually, I have more now because I did this for this challenge. Story. There's another one I added a little circle to it to make it a tag, to make it possible to put it in this little box, in this little ring. This is just a little envelope. This one, I went and I created some tags that had painted backgrounds that were all in coordinating colors to go along with the colors in the noteworthy ephemera pack, which I have over someplace else that I can't. Oh, here it is. So I kind of tried to match these colors in this noteworthy ephemera pack, and I went through and I painted some backgrounds on some tags and using those colors so that I would have something to use as a jumping off spot for my future project, for my future tag. So I was going to use the ephemera and just use what worked for the prompts. So this one was stamp, and I used a stamp image and also an actual stamp. This one I think was green or flower. Probably green. This is a different kind of tag. That was one of my, it was the Tall Tag Duo die set from My Favorite Things. So you end up with two types of tags. One that looks, well, there's this one that has the flag at the bottom. I call it the flag, kind of tail. And then there's one that doesn't have anything. And these were just done on cardstock that I have sprayed with, I think, Salvage Patina. And then you go back and you add a little something at the top to make it work as a tag, like you would for a luggage tag. It's more like a luggage tag type deal. And these were just done. These are what I would call my master board. It's just a page that I collaged a bunch of paper onto, and then with gel medium, and then I ran it through the die cut machine and cut out some tags. My little Sizzix sidekick, this little guy from Tim Holtz, I have these in the store. These are super easy, and it's a great starter kit. It comes with a die, which is a tag die, and then some stamps, and it actually comes with an embossing folder, and it's a great little machine for getting started. It actually comes with a like 0 through 9 numbers also. Perfect for getting started, and even great for little kids who just want to play with when mom is playing or dad or whoever's playing, or doing crafty things. They can do this. It's a very small machine, and it works well with small hands. You have to cut all your paper small, but it works pretty well to make tags. This one was either yellow or flower. I have a lot of flower ones. And here's another. This one is maybe the quote or words. So there's my tag book. I have a few other tags that I like. This one I was just playing with stitching. I don't know why I didn't put, I don't think I put stitching in one of my prompts, but I might have to go add that to the September list. So for the September list, I just want to let you know, I took the numbers off because people were getting upset because they were behind. And I don't want you to feel like you're behind because you didn't post the number 1 prompt for number 1 on day 1 or something like that. I want you to do whatever prompt feels good for you and just go from there. So I took the numbers off the prompt list for the month of September. So that's that tag book, and I'm sure I'll be adding more. It's a good place to keep all my little tags. Actually, it's fun, inspiring. And then here's another tag book that I created. I have a whole video on this tag book. It's over on my YouTube already. I just took the Busy Sidewalks collection. There's a page that's all tags, and the big tags and little tags, like these guys. And then I cut all those up and added some embellishments. And then I used the ephemera set from Busy Sidewalks and some of the stickers. And now I have a little booklet, a little tag book. So actually, when it comes down to time for gift giving, I can reach over, grab this ring, and just add a little message on the back. And there I go. I have some tags. Add some little ribbon at the top, and I'm good to go. And these are all so cute. Some of them I did put images, something over the top of the words if it said to or from, but that's okay because I can still write that on the back. So I made this little book. Thought it was really cute. All the stickers in the ephemera pack, they coordinate, and so they work really well together. There's even some tags in the ephemera pack. So there I go. I already have myself a little ring of Christmas tags ready to go for Christmas. I just wanted to go through those tags really quick and to let you know we are going to continue the fun of tags into September. Again, I will be posting that prompt list today so that you can save it and get ready for the prompts for September. Okay. Today, I want to talk about the blank page, and this is inspired because of Nicole Watson. Check out her Instagram and her YouTube. She has a lot of really amazing videos on YouTube. And she posted yesterday or the day before about having a blank page. And what do you do when you have a blank page? And how do you get started if you're just kind of looking at that blank page and it's just kind of paralyzing you? And I know I've had that too. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't do anything with art journaling because I wanted to, but I had these really fancy or nice books, and I didn't know what to do with them and how to start and what to do. So what I learned by accident, and it's funny because I was thinking about how I do this and I don't even really know, because I'll go through and I have so many of these books. It's like, when I say this, like scrap quilters, because how do you get scraps? But if you make other projects, you make scraps. But if you have to make those projects to make the scraps, then you have to make the projects first. But if you only like to use the scraps, then how do you get the scraps? So you get scraps from other people. It's very confusing. But so to me, now it's interesting because you can buy, I have one in the store, and it is a Dilutions book. And it is it already has paintings on it. It already has her marks on there. It has all the Diane Reevely's marks in her book. It's called like a creative jumpstart book or something. And it's an art journal. And the funny part about those is I wouldn't want to go in and do anything on those because those are her marks. They don't mean the same thing to me that those marks might mean to her. And so it's hard for me to want to go and write on her pages when I know that I can do my own. So that sort of thing doesn't actually help me. So, but it might help other people. So you can look into that, because I do have that book in the store, and I have like the Traveler's Notebook size, the inserts. Here's an example of the Dilutions book. See, hers, there's not a single white page in here. It's already like this. But these almost might be too hard for me to even want to do anything on, because to me they're not mine. But you could. And then I have several different ones that have her different marks, and then I just have blank ones. Here's a blank one. I'm gonna have to use that one soon because I'm running out of room in this one. I need a new mop-up journal. So I was gonna go through with 5 ways of how to break the page, and that is a term that Tiff from Tiff Gal Designs uses. I did not create that term. I like to take other people's ideas. I don't take them. I like to borrow other people's ideas and jump off from those points of other people's ideas. And so actually it wasn't even her. It was, I think it's Nia Bailey. She was one of the first people that I saw who did, I was trying to figure out how to use the Dina Wakley journal that has the burlap in it. And so I found Nia Bailey's videos, and she talked about using a journal kind of like this Dilutions one as a mop-up journal. That was her phrase. And all she says was, she'd be working on one project over in one book, and then she would have extra paint. Or maybe she was working on, maybe you're working on gel printing, and you're not working in a journal, you're just gel printing that day. And so while you're gel printing, you have some extra paint left on your gel plate or on your palette that you're working with because you're working on a canvas or something like that. And so you might go, and what do you do with that extra paint? Well, are you going to let it sit there and then just kind of dry out and become a glop on your palette? I did that with something I was working on because I let the paint dry, and I was like, oh, I kind of wasted that paint. That's unfortunate. So, or what you could do is you could take your extra paint, take your brayer, and you might take it and you might clean it off on the paper underneath, or you could go over to a blank page in your mop-up journal, and you can just here's one. I'm trying to find one I haven't done anything to. Here's one. So you just clean it up with your journal, like just wipe that paint all over those pages. It does not matter. It doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to coordinate. It can look like trash. It can look absolutely like trash. It does not matter. The idea is that in an environmental perspective, you're kind of being better for the environment. And because you're not getting as much paint into your water that goes into your paint water, because you're using it all up before it goes on your brush, or you take your brush and you wipe your brush all over your page, and you're cleaning it off, and then it gets like this. Or maybe you have a stencil, and I've seen a lot of people do this with stencils. You do a stencil on one dedicated project that you're working on, and then your stencil still has paint on it. Well, you take that stencil and you go over to your mop-up journal, and you wipe it off, and of course maybe then you decide that you want to do more on that page, and then you end up doing more, which is fine. It's kind of what I did here. But or maybe and so you just end up with, between the the paint that you're just trying to use up, between the stamps that you have a little bit of extra ink on the stamp and you just want to clean it off a little bit before you hit it with some water, or if you just have some more paint on your brayer or whatever, or maybe you're just trying to test out how would this look if I inked up this stencil and then sprayed it. How would that look? Or how would this look? How does this spray look? Or what do these colors look like? And that's kind of what your mop-up journal would be for. So that's one way, because then after a while, it's surprising, you will have almost a full book of just background pages to work in. And I did that. I had all these backgrounds done in this book. I'm almost done. See, I have just a few more pages in here that are empty. And then I started with another book. This is my book that I created for, I started it for Life Book. Never finished Life Book. Started doing Wonderlust in it. And so I'm still working on, I'm doing some of Wonderlust in here. But I decided that I had too many pages that were just white and it was too precious. So I started to go in, and every time I work on something, and it's funny because I don't even realize when I'm working on one thing and that I'm dedicating one project, and then over here I'm doing something else. Because most of the time I feel like I'm just playing and I don't have any dedicated real projects. But this is all created because this one, I was playing with purples that day. It was when I was doing my color of the month and I was doing purple. And I just played with spraying and I wanted to see. So that is kind of that's almost two ways of your breaking the page is just mopping up paint, your brayer, your ink, whatever it is you're doing, your stamping. And that's exactly what it is, right? So I have all these backgrounds now in this book that is no longer precious, even though I handmade it. It's no longer precious. I really don't have any empty pages in here. But I can go in and I can add a focal point. I'm not very good at those, by the way. We say this every time. Y'all know that about me. But like this page, this was a Life Book page. I added to this last week. I added, on Friday, I did a stamping with the new Elizabeth St. Hilaire stamps from Art Foamies, right? And I did some other Art Foamies on here. And so I just added to that page. And it doesn't take much to make that page into something different, okay? Here's a couple of Book of Days I did. First two from Book of Days. I did two from Book of Days and that's it. I stopped. Wonderlust was Wonderlust. I've done the most, I think, in this book. And then what you can do is once you have those pages done, you can go back easily and add that focal point later. Sorry, really quick. So last night I was working on trying to learn how to do more abstract, and I was doing something with here, but I had so much, and this looks like such a mess because it's not done, but, or it's abstract, I don't know. I was playing with it in here, and then I decided, and this one really did start with a blank page because I'll show you why, what I was doing to break the page on this one. I had so much black and white paint left over on my palette. I grabbed this book, which is a Jamie Oliver cookbook, which is funny because I don't cook that much and I don't really like cookbooks and I don't really care about cookbooks. And so I just go in here, and if I have extra paint, this is kind of my new mop-up journal, and I just slap the paint on a page. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes, because these pages are very colorful and pretty with their photography, sometimes I try to find if I have a color that is, some of these I actually did not mop up the paint on this one. This was actually done that way. Just playing with marks. I'm also I was doing a class from Melissa Burke, and it was about mark making, and I was doing it in this journal. But I wanted to show you really quick how I might pick a color on the page. Like this one, if I had extra green paint, I might just slap it on this page just because it's already green, and then it won't, like this one had some purples, and this was when I was doing those tags, and I had extra purple and green paint and blue paint, and this, because it had these purple whatever these are in the background, I just decided that worked with that page. So eventually I might add something. I've done one page in here that I really liked, this one. The one page I've done in this book so far, but the rest of it's just paint, and it's been fun. And I did take out some pages, and it's a sewn in binding, so it's easier. It was easier to take out the pages. And this was completely inspired for this book from the Inky Quill YouTube channel, because she has a Jamie journal. She's in Australia. He's Australian, or he's in Australia, And she's like, I have my Jamie journal, and she works in her Jamie journal. And then I went to Goodwill, and I found the exact same book at Goodwill for just a couple dollars, and I was so excited. She also got hers at what she calls the op shop. Okay, I digress. Okay, so that's a mop-up journal. That's a good way to break the page, is just mop up whatever it is that you're working, that you have extra. I try sometimes. I have been doing that on my underpaper here because it's just almost faster than grabbing, and I don't always have enough space on my table. But so it's just kind of interesting. But I've noticed, like, when I was doing my 5 minutes of play for the Ugly Art challenge, I found that it was nice to have this book. It already had backgrounds, because then all I had to do, like this one, all I did was stamp and add the words. And it was pretty much done. And then this one, I put some gesso and I collaged a little bit of paper and I added a little focal point. But the orange was already there. And these gears and stuff, that was already there because it was part of my mop-up journal. Marpy, I'm glad you love Jamie Oliver. His book's pretty. I don't cook and I don't garden. So it's just not me. So these are definitely a good jumping off point when you have your background is already done. You can just add something to it. So it's like a bonus, right? Okay, so the next one, that was a long discussion of that first one. The next one, I would say, is if you just have this kind of blank page like this, you can, obviously, you can grab a Stabilo or any kind of water-soluble pencil. I have this one called the Sketch and Wash from Brazil in my store. I don't have Stabilos because Stabilo doesn't sell to everybody. You can get them on Amazon, but they don't sell it to everybody, but you can get them on Amazon. It's interesting. You can come in and you can just write a word, right? You can journal. You can also use something like a Tombow marker. Those are water soluble, so you hit them with some water and they are going to melt and run, which is really cool because you might not want to remember what it is that you wrote, right? So you could write something. Right? And you can kind of scribble. You could do some circles. Just kind of literally, look, no more white page. Nope, no more white page. Okay? And then go back with your brush and some water, obviously. And you can decide, do you want to try to write it again? Or do you just want to smear it, right? You could actually go back here and you can say, I'm going to do it this way. Guess what else? This activates with water. This is an interesting thing. It activates with any kind of liquid. So I could come in and I could say, I'm going to actually add some gesso. A little bit. Hopefully I won't add too much, but hopefully this won't be too bad. And I promise you, I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to say promise because I can't guarantee it, but you come in with your gesso, which also could be considered a way to break the page, right? And what's kind of neat is that the Stabilo will activate with the gesso too. So it will turn it kind of a gray. So will the Tombow. So if you come in and you use a Tombow, which is a marker, it's a double-sided marker. Here's an example. I have one in my store. I have these in my store. I have a whole bunch and I sell them open stock. So you can buy one at a time or 5 at a time or as many as you want. And you can come in and you can add some marks all around the page. This is not another way of doing it. This is just another thing that you can do to break the page, right? And it will activate. I didn't know that about Tombows. I didn't know they were water reactive, but I'm sure I saw that on somebody's class somewhere. Yes, I have gesso. Yes, I'm getting it on my brush. That's okay. I don't care. But now your gesso is kind of purple. And see? No more blank page here. So nothing left to worry about. This is absolutely just playtime. So don't think of it as a white page and something to be afraid of. Think of it as, this is my playground. This is some place that I can play and do whatever I want, and it doesn't matter. And if you're working in an art journal, which I assume you are if you have blank pages, the canvas is kind of the same way, but it's funny because I don't really work in canvases, but I've thought about it because I'm like, and I don't really have any fear of them because I'm not worried about trying to, I don't really want to mess up my marker with the gesso, but you could do it after it's dry. I don't really have any fear of the canvas either. I started playing on canvas the other day because it was just a bigger surface to play on. And actually, I bought a couple canvases from Goodwill. And this one, it's horrible right now. I mean, it's not the best, right? This is an in progress, but I'm going to show it to you. This was actually painted before. It was pink, and it had little gold butterflies on it. Like somebody had painted it to put in their room. And this is a work in progress from a Wonderlust class. But so I bought it. It was 99 cents. I mean, you can't really beat that price for canvas. And I covered it up and started painting over it. I covered it with gesso and started that project. So it's pretty fun. So there we go. There's another way to break your page with Stabilo and some gesso and some Tombow, which is like 3 things in one, when really I said I was going to do like 5. So that's another one. One of my favorite ones to do is even to do collage. And I have, if you don't know what to start with, I have this is a small version of it. I have these collage packs in my store, right? You could get one of these, very simple. It's $5 and $4.99, and you can start with that as a jumping off point for your collage. So you could even collage over this, because why not? But if you really just wanted to work with a plain blank page first, you might, here's another book I've made, right? And it's completely blank. So this might be kind of nerve-wracking to kind of start this way, because it's blank. But you can take some matte medium. My favorite thing to do is collage. You can take matte medium, you can take a palette knife, and you can take an ephemera pack. And if you buy an ephemera pack for me, I will send you a palette knife for free. And you can just slap that down on your page, okay? And then you end up with a really cool collage page to start with. And I know I've heard of that from other people who said that that's what they like to do first, is they put some collage down, because it helps to break up that white space. So that's another thing to do, is to do collage. I don't really have time to go in and do it, but I have so much collage paper. I have so many things here. And what's fun is, like, you could do a tissue. I'll just do a couple pieces really quick. I'm going to try to do it and try not to get it on my fingers. Okay. Actually, I should have probably just put it straight on the page, because there's nothing precious here. Okay, so you just kind of lay it down. This is deli paper, so it's going to pretty much melt into the background. My palette knife may very well have some paint on it, so it might cause there to be some marks on the page. Okay, so put some of that matte medium down and go to town. And I love to just pick my favorite kind of things to collage with: book paper, pattern tissue paper, because I love sewing, and I've always loved sewing. And here's some, now, here's my thing. There's a couple things. If you're going to use collage to break the page, you could, you might have to stop and not be Anna. You might want to stop and think about what you're doing to break the page, because these are pieces that I stuck together the other day, and they are now sticking together because they have paint on them, making them stick. But you might want to think about what it is that you are trying to accomplish, because there may very well be some pieces, like this is a tissue, this is a tea bag. I don't want that to go on the bottom layer. My bottom layer of my page is probably going to get covered up. The whole idea of collaging on the bottom layer is so that you can create some texture for later. So later I might cover this up with paint, but I could still see some of the words. Okay, so I think that I used to wonder why people would collage an entire page and then just cover it up with paint. But I realized that you can have, I've tried to do this and I never successfully do it, but you can designate some of your paper as collage for under paper, you know, background collage, and then some for top collage. The only top collage stuff I ever managed to remember to save for top collage is the Dina Wakley papers, because those are made for going on the top. Okay, so there's that thought, right? Here's a page. It's no longer white anymore. There's paper here. I know a lot of artists do this. A lot of mixed media people will do this. I love how these pages got all stuck together because I had this ink and I just kind of threw it on there, and then so now it's kind of multiple chunks of paper. And if you go watch like Nicole or Laura or even Erin from the Mixed Media Menagerie ladies, they are so good at how they do the collage, because they don't put collage everywhere. They don't put book paper everywhere, but it just helps to get the page started. I tend to just go overboard and put it all over the back, and then it helps if you have a page that actually feels kind of thin. If you're working in an old book and your paper feels kind of thin, you might it would help to do collage with more paper on top of it. This has a bubble. I'm trying to get the bubble out. Okay, so that's another way, is to do collage on the page. The next one was use a page that's not already white. So my example here is to use something like Craft Journal, which is a book from Dina Wakley. This is a 6x6 journal. It doesn't scare me to work on a brown page. It doesn't bother me as much. I don't know if it would bother you, but it doesn't bother me. And so as you can see, I've already started with this book, some collage. I think this is another video that I did, or live that I did before. Here's some collage that I did. And then because I was playing with sprays, I sprayed so that I could kind of give it another texture. The interesting part is because it's got that brown background, the sprays don't show up on the back, but they work really well to make the top color blend in a little better. So it's a fun book. I can't wait to work in it some more. And of course, there's a lot of other people out there who already work in it. But to me, using a book like this that's not already white just doesn't seem to bug me as much as feeling like it's a white page and it's completely blank. And again, I've started using this as also because I literally will choose whatever book I can find that's laying around as my mop-up journal. So I have no problems doing that. I just don't. I don't know why, but it's a book. It's made for you to paint in it. It's made for you to put paint on it. So do it and don't worry about it. That's the way I look at it. Okay, Craft Journal was example. Look, did I do my picture of my... I probably did Alice in here upside down. Okay, that's that one. And then the last one is Doodle on it. So you could do a doodles. that was one of my examples. I don't know that I have a page that's been doodled off the top of my head, but you could easily, is this dry? You could easily go in and take a pen, and you can decide if you want to do one that's actually water soluble or not, right? Because when you add more media later, because you probably will, maybe you're just sitting on the couch and you want to relax and you want to have something kind of mindless to do. So you just kind of decide. I like to doodle quilt designs, and one that I like to doodle is a feather. And so you might just kind of come in, and this is just not that great, but you know what? This is a practice for like a feather. Or you might come in and decide that you want to just do swirls. And if you're familiar at all with Zentangling is like this idea of you just sit there and you doodle until you're kind of just in a calm and meditation kind of state. And the best example I would call this tissue is a very good example of Zentangle, because it's just filling in the whole space. So I just wanted to show you that. That's like an example of how you could doodle. I mean, you could just sit there, and I have some pages somewhere in a book, and I'm just doodling. You know, maybe you want to do pebbles. If you look up quilt designs that's for actual quilting is intended. You have to, when you're sewing, quilting, you're doing stitching on the quilt, and you're connecting the 3 layers. So you can't pick up your pen. Literally, you're using a sewing machine. Your pen or your sewing machine, like if you're thinking of this as when you're quilting, you literally cannot pick up. You can stop and start, and you can change your thread, but the idea is that you don't want to. So it's better to find patterns that you can do that you don't have to stop. So there, I picked up my pen a little bit. I cheated. But you can also travel and use the same, like I can actually follow the same line. If I was really doing quilting, I wouldn't. And there's different rules of thought about dense quilting versus not. But if you're just doing this to doodle, then you're not really doing it to quilting, are you? So you could sit there while you're watching TV one night with your family, they're hanging out, and maybe you just want to doodle and fill up a page. And guess what? It's not a white page anymore. It's filled up. It's all colored. It's all filled up. And then you can decide later if you want to keep it or if you just want to add some water and see what happens. And maybe you add some water, and then now you've got an interesting purple background, because it's fun and I like to do that. The hardest thing with me is I don't have a problem with a blank page. I have a problem with leaving white space. I have the opposite problem of the blank page, usually. So there you go. I hope that you like my overview of 5 ways to break your page. Trademark Tiffany. I don't know if it's actually trademark. Copyright Tiffany, from Tiff Gal Designs, who says that first. But you can do a lot of other things too. I think you could put some collage paper like this down, although to me, if you put that as a first layer, you're going to lose probably some of it. That would be too challenging for me to not cover all of it up, and I wouldn't want to. I would want to save that for a fun collage. So there you go. I hope that you guys appreciate my overview, and that you will join me again next Tuesday, and or go over onto my YouTube and check out all the other videos that I have, because all my Facebook Lives are posted over there, and they've been edited so they're not super long and rambly. They're sweet and short, and or you can watch all my other Instagram Lives on my IGTV or also on YouTube. So thank you so much. One very, very last thing. I'm starting September 1st, I'm going to do 7 days of Stamp Mania. So if you're interested in learning 7 different ways to use stamps in your work, and this is I'm talking like rubber stamps kind of stamps, then please go to my bio and sign up on my 7 days of Stamp Mania email list. And so I will send you One every day, very short and sweet, 7 different ways to use stamps. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.